Hello, it's Billy Marcella from your Emanu-El Temple Circles Advisory Council. Welcome to your training session for leaders of Temple Circles. This training is designed to bring your leader's handbook to life and answer questions you might have before your Temple Circle session begins. Please have a pen and paper close by to write down questions and perform exercises later in this training. We know that there are many demands on your time and energy and are thrilled that you are dedicating some of your time to fostering an environment that will live into the Temple Circle mission, which we will review later in this training. After completing this training, if you have questions or concerns, please don't worry. Not only will you be able to attend at least one Q&A session, you will have your coach, who is your partner, and will work with you whenever you feel the need. This training has been created by Billy Marcella and Marilyn Rothstein, with oversight from the other dedicated members of the 2020 Temple Circles Advisory Council. We also want to acknowledge you for your willingness to learn what it takes to be a Temple Circles leader and lead a great session. Our leaders are the folks who really are responsible for the successful growth of the Temple Circles initiative. Please find a quiet place and do your best to be fully present while listening to this training. In order to do that, take a moment or two to clear your thoughts so that you can be fully present and absorb all the information. Once you're in a comfortable position, take several slow, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now, we will move on to the training. So why Temple Circles? To give you a little history behind Temple Circles, as a result of a listening campaign that took place a few years ago, we learned that our members are often looking for conversations that have more depth, are less programmatic, and are less transactional. It was clear that we, as a community, are looking for more opportunity to build deeper relationships at Temple Emanu-El. When we started to investigate, and then brought the idea of small groups to our Temple leadership, we actually heard comments filled with possibility and optimism. There was agreement among our professional staff and most of our lay leaders that we needed a paradigm shift in our congregational culture. As we now know, based on responses from our pilot session, that our Temple Emanu-El family was ready to build deeper connections in our overly digitalized age, and that from time to time slowed down in a world that often rewards us for speeding up. We've also heard that this is a wonderful way for people to expand their support systems for those good and not so good times. Just think about it for a moment. What could Temple Emanu-El look like, feel like, be like in 5 years from now if there were 100 Temple Circles? Here's a brief visual of the communication and support flow within Temple Circles initiative. Temple Emanu-El's clergy, professionals, and the Temple Circles Advisory Council support the coaches, who support you, the Temple Circle leaders, who in turn support circle participants. As a Temple Circle leader, you are not on your own. If you have not met with your Temple Circles coach yet, they will be reaching out soon. They are there to help you whenever you need it. In addition, throughout the session, you can communicate with your coach and share what's happening in the lives of your Temple Circle members. This information will then be shared with the appropriate clergy member, when appropriate. This will help our rabbi and cantor know that when somebody is in the hospital or someone needs to be put on the Misha Barak list. Your coach will also share with you Temple news, such as special services or events, which you can share with your Temple Circle members. And it has been commonplace for Temple Circles to attend some Temple Emanu-El services or events together as a group. The Temple Circles initiative is definitely a multi-directional relationship that encourages a much larger support system for everyone. It enables everyone involved to be more connected to each other, Temple Emanu-El, and the larger Jewish community. Our Temple Circles mission statement is a guiding light for everything we do in the Temple Circles environment. When making plans for or with your circle participants, we hope you will always make sure that you are living into the mission. Every circle participant should be familiar with our mission, and we recommend reviewing it or posting it at all circle get-togethers. Please read along with me and think about it in terms of your circle. Our Temple Circles initiative encourages Temple family to form groups that have shared interests and passions in order to seek, engage, and transform caring and supportive relationships among themselves, the Temple Emanu-El community, and with Judaism. There is a copy of the mission statement in your leader's handbook. We recommend sharing it with your participants when your circle first meets, even if that's online. Now we'd like to pause so you could think about a time in which you were in a group that was memorable and successful. What made it that? In regards to Temple Circles, we believe that when everyone observes the Temple Circle promise, it creates a safe space for everyone to be themselves. When you meet regularly, there is time to create friendships. When you set aside time during your activity, you create space to build relationships. When you encourage sharing by all members, everyone feels like they're part of the group. There will be more about how to encourage participation at your Q&A session. As a group, we recommend that you attend temple services, programs, and events together. As your friendships grow, we recommend celebrating Shabbat, holidays, and life cycle events together. And of course, we recommend supporting each other in times of need and celebrating in times of joy. Outside of the activity that brings you together, be and do Jewish together. You'll find more suggestions on how to do this in your leader's guidebook. Now, what you've been waiting for, here is the recipe for successfully leading a temple circle. First, you need to plan and prepare. Then you need to communicate, then delegate, and of course, have deep relationship building conversations. Now, let's explore each of these topics in more detail. A few days beforehand, you will fine-tune that outline. Send a reminder email to all participants and guests, and gather your needed supplies. The day of the gathering, have the Temple Circle's mission and promise ready to share. Prepare your supplies, equipment, and resources. During the first get-together, we recommend that you have name tags available if the meeting is in person, or be ready to edit the Zoom squares if you are doing it online. Invite everyone to have a nosh or beverage, if in person. Have relationship building, deeper conversations. And of course, focus on your circle's area of interest or activity. And finally, do something Jewish together. Communication is key in any relationship, so communicate often. Communicate with your group prior to circle get-togethers, reminding them of the details. Communicate about upcoming Temple Emanu-El services, programs, and events, and maybe even plan to attend some together. Communicate about community events, especially those Jewish ones. And don't forget to include your coach in the communications when applicable. Communicate with your coach. You can do that with a call, an email, or through GROUPVITALS. Feel free to communicate with any member of the Temple Circle's Advisory Council, and of course with members of Temple Emanu-El's clergy and professional staff, if and when needed. Some leaders have used Facebook to communicate with their circles. If you would like to do that, we've established some guidelines that are in your leader's handbook. Please read that section or discuss your plans with your coach before creating a group. In your leader's handbook, you will find examples of how to communicate with your group members. On the screen, you'll see an example of an email, which you may customize and send out prior to your meeting. I'll give you just a second to read it. Speaking of group communication, it's time to talk about a valuable tool in your arsenal, GROUPVITALS. GroupVitals is a small group management software. It allows you to set up and customize the information about your group, maintain members within your group, and communicate with your members. By now, you have already worked with someone from the Temple Advisory Council to create your group on this platform. Before your upcoming session starts, we ask that you verify the dates listed on GroupVital are correct. Once that is done, periodically check GroupVital's page to ensure that you're accepting new people into your group. If you are unsure whether or not to accept someone into your group, again, reach out to your contact at the Temple Circles Advisory Council or Monica Singletary before clicking that Accept button. Once your session has started, please use GroupVital to take attendance during or after your gatherings, being sure to note any guests that you have in attendance at your gathering. In addition, before your gatherings, leaders in the past have found GroupVitals is a great way to communicate with their members via email. By keeping your membership information up to date, you'll be able to quickly see who your members are and send them an email through the software. There is also the ability to send a group text to your members using GroupVitals. However, we do not recommend using the software to text. Your text will come across as a GroupVitals anonymous number and may be seen as spam. Finally, you will be able to track all that you've done for your group in one place. You can access your past attendance records, emails, changes made to your group, and there's even a Notes tab where you're able to record things that you wish to discuss with your coach or just remember in the future. Before you watch the shortened video created by GroupVitals, a little warning, the language is considered a bit churchy. While other synagogues do use the software, the main client for this organization is churches. In addition, you may want to take notes while the video is playing. You'll be able to pause and restart the video, so have your handy dandy pen and paper ready before beginning that video. All right, stop reading and grab a piece of paper. We would like you to jot down all the tasks that you think you'll need to do as a leader. Because of the nature of your circle, your tasks might be different from those of other leaders. I'm going to give you a moment to create your list. All right, you're probably not finished, but I'm going to go ahead and ask my questions anyway. Which of these tasks could you imagine someone else taking on from the onset? Which of these tasks could you imagine someone else taking on maybe after a few sessions? What kind of things will you need to teach or share to be effective? What are you going to do when you're not able to lead one of your planned gatherings? Well, after a few sessions, someone else could be asked to lead. It's a great way to cultivate new leaders. Or, if you feel comfortable, you can even ask them to become a co-leader. They will have the same access to your Temple Circles software, GroupVitals. While there is a specific activity that is bringing your Temple Circles together, the purpose of Temple Circles really is to get to know one another better. Creating an atmosphere that sparks deeper conversation in which everyone feels comfortable to contribute is key. Here are a few best practices on how to do this. Set the tone for a relaxing atmosphere. This means creating a space where people feel comfortable sharing. Some examples of this are in your leader's handbook, and we will be doing some brainstorming and role-playing regarding this during the upcoming Q&A sessions. Make sure you allocate time for conversations when you meet. This is especially important in those groups that will be breaking into smaller groups to perform some activity, like watching a movie, doing an outdoor activity, engaging in study, etc. Perhaps you can allow the first 15 minutes for getting to know one another, or maybe stop in the middle for a quick break in your activity to eat and talk, if you're in person, or ending the activity early and using the activity to ask participants about what they can apply in their lives from what they just learned. Last, but certainly not least, ask deeper questions and encourage your participants to follow suit. There are examples of conversation starters in your handbook, and we will be discussing this in further detail during the upcoming Q&A session. We will end our training session with some final instructions about what you should do before your first session starts. First, if you have not already done so, please schedule a meeting with your coach to go over any questions that you or your coach might have. Next, you should be getting emails from Group Vital when someone wants to join your group. If you do not know them, we recommend that you reach out to someone on the Temple Circles Advisory Council or Monica Singletary to make sure they are a member of the temple, part of the Jewish community, or they just have a sincere interest in Judaism, as well as whatever activity you guys will be doing in your circle. Registration is open until the end of the month. A week or so before your group is to begin, we recommend that you send out a welcome email to your participants. Information about what to include in that email is, of course, in your leader's guide. If you plan on meeting online and are unpracticed in doing this, we recommend that you watch a few tutorial videos on how to do it. If you do not know where to start, that's okay. Just reach out to your coach for assistance. They can recommend videos for you to watch and attend practice sessions where you lead a session on one of the common online platforms, such as Skype, Zoom, Google Hangouts, etc. Finally, you will finalize your plans for your first get-together. There is a sample agenda in what you know to be as your leader's guide. Thank you for attending the Leaders Training Session. Again, reach out to your coach with any questions that you have, and please sign up for one of the upcoming Q&A sessions. Just remember, keep us in the loop, tell us stories, help us craft this for even more kinds of groups in the future, and most of all, have fun.